Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Susan. Good to see you. Today we've got a real treat for you. We're going to take you to tap maple trees for their syrup. Now this is a friend of ours, Rick and Cheryl Mullen, who live just here in northern Minnesota, not too far from us. They have a bunch of maple trees. So we went out, and the first segment you're going to see is how we tap the trees. Believe me, it was cold and it was windy and it wasn't fun. The next segment you're going to see is gathering the syrup. There again, put them in those 5-gallon buckets. Those are hard to schlep across the road, but we managed to do it. The third segment you're going to see is the cooking of the syrup, and it takes 40 gallons of syrup to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. Imagine that, 40 to 1. Now the fourth you'll see is the finished product, and this is the finished product. This is their signature, Fruit of the Loon. So that's their maple syrup, and that's what we're going to use in the dressing today. Good morning and welcome. This is our friend Rick Mullins, who has these beautiful maple trees, and he's going to show us how to tap a maple tree, which should be real interesting.
Okay, we're using a 7/8 inch drill bit, and we go in about the distance of the tap from the edge of the tap in about 2/3 of the way. Make sure you get into the white part of the wood. And just hand tighten it. And then I use milk jugs, drill a little hole in the cap, and set it there.
And then this is Buddy, by the way. Buddy the helper.
Buddy the wonder dog. And the sticks tend to keep things pretty much upright until we start to get some sap running. And even if it's, there we go.
Once the sap's running, it'll pretty well hold the jug.
Yeah. And we come out here typically every day and empty the jugs into a 5-gallon pail, and then keep the pails down at the in the shop, out of the sun, in the cooler part of the building, and then just return every day until the sap takes on a bit of a color and also a bit of an odor. Once you do that, then you know you're done with the clear sugar sap that runs in these trees.
So the sap itself is clear until you process it.
The sap is clear until the tree starts to take something from the ground that changes the color slightly, and it'll get kind of a tint to it, and also it'll tend to get a somewhat of an odor to it that isn't as appealing as the clear sap when the sap is running. But now this tree, we've tapped this tree many times, and sometimes we will get in excess of 1 gallon in a day. Sometimes the tree won't run very much. It's really somewhat uncertain and intermittent in terms of how the trees do it. But we try to get out here frequently in order to empty these jugs out.
Now, how do you know when the sap's ready to run?
Well, this year is a particular problem because usually you have freezing at night and warm and during the day. And once that cycle starts to happen consistently, then the sap is running. But we've had this snow, no snow, good weather, warm weather, not so warm, and so on. So it'll be kind of intermittent. It'll start, it'll stop, but we usually take about a week or two to complete whatever cycle it is. And once the sap starts running with that tint and odor to it, then we stop altogether and pull them out. So we just take a twig and shove it back in here and break it off and it seals up.
Great. Well, we'll be back when we can see some sap running.
Got some? Some?
That was full. So what we're doing here, we tapped the trees a few weeks ago and we showed you that process. Now we're going back and gathering the sap to take back and boil down and make syrup with.
Susie,
Huh?
how much sap you have so far?
You know what we'll do, Susan?
About half of it.
I'm going to take your pail and empty it in here. Put it on. It's just really heavy.
It does get heavy.
It does. Okay. So then I'll take this pail. You take that pail. And we'll collect some more.
Okay.
How many have you done so far, Susie?
What's that?
You filled up one of these already, a 5-gallon, haven't you?
Cheryl and I did, yeah.
There's a lot of sap in some of these.
We put in add roughly a gallon at a time to the existing sap that's boiling off. And you can see it's evaporating, and that's what we want. We want a relatively even kind of evaporation so it doesn't scorch or burn. And these buckets and the ones in the shop there are all the sap. So that's why it takes so long.
And you said you have about 60 gallons
We
now.
got about 60, 65 gallons of sap.
And
Yeah.
you said you're going to make how much?
We'll make I would say about a gallon and a half or 2 gallons of syrup.
Okay.
And both yesterday and today with the warm weather, the sap has stopped running. I was up there yesterday and again. And so the trees have stopped for the moment. Now that doesn't mean they won't start up again, but we'll cook what we can because this sap as it sits in the shed is pretty good and will hold itself for about a week,
Okay.
maybe a little bit longer. We don't want to keep it any longer than that. In any event, we'll keep burning this down or cooking it down until probably late this evening. We'll see how far we get, and generally speaking, it takes us a full day to cook all of this and get it done.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the head cook and bottle washer.
We might be here till midnight tonight.
Okay, Cheryl's not as optimistic as Rick
No,
on
I'm
this, so
I'm not.
so she.
But it does
Yeah, he's the-
evaporate very nicely. That's the way we like to see it. And every now and then, we just give it a little stir.
And it's all wood fired.
All wood fired.
But you said oak. You have oak here.
We have oak, which has got a much higher BTU than the other wood, but as I mentioned, the stove is itself something over 400, 500 degrees. So it just takes a while to evaporate that And then when we get the last of the sap cooked, and we're at about this level, right now it's a couple inches above the base of the stove, or base of the tank. But when we get it down to about an inch, thereabouts, that's when we'll pull it off, and it goes into a cooking pot about this same size, and that's what we bring in the house, and we put it on the stove, and we have a candy thermometer that we use, and we bring it up, we boil it, bring it to boil again up to about 207, just a bit below actual boiling, and we kind of keep an eye on it to make sure it's not burning or anything like that. And when we get it up to that temperature and maintain that for a little bit, then we pour it into the quart jars, seal them, and that's all we have to do.
Okay, we'll see what that's like when we get there. So.
Okay.
Rick Mullen, thank you again.
My pleasure.
Now this is a maple syrup dressing. We're going to start out. It's going to start out with 1/3 of a cup of avocado oil. Let's do 1/3 of a cup here. Little 1/3 of a cup. Here we go. It's about 1/3 of a cup. We're going to pour it in this jar because I'm going to shake this jar. Now we're going to take 3 tablespoons of balsamics. This is balsamic vinegar. It's from, where's it from? Italy, I guess. I'm going to shake this up. Oh, good. Shook it all over the place. Well, those things happen, don't they? So I want 3 tablespoons of balsamics vinegar. There's 1, 2, and 3. You'll have to forgive me. Today's a Parkinson's shake day. Let me grab a cloth and wipe that up. So, all right, now the recipe calls for 1½ tablespoon maple syrup. I'm going to get another tablespoon because I don't want to use the same one with vinegar. Okay, so we're going to take, oh look, I wish you could smell it, and it's starting to crystallize around the edges. Look at that. Oh, look at the, can you see the golden? Oh my, how gold it is. I wish you could smell it. It really smells good. So we've got that in there, and then it calls for 3/4 of a teaspoon of Dijon. Let's see if we can get 3/4 of a teaspoon of Dijon mustard out of there. We're going to put it in the jar. Sorry about the shakes today, but some days I have more shakes with Parkinson's than others. We just get around it. Now we've got 1/2 teaspoon of honey. I'm about ready to get a new honey jar, it looks like. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of honey in there. Oops, I probably shouldn't do that. That rings in your ears. And, oh, 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Smoked, not regular, but smoked paprika. That's different. We'll see how that tastes. Then we're just going to need about 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and put it in this jar. Now with any luck, we're not going to shake this all over the kitchen. Maybe I'll just put this rag around it just in case. Better safe than sorry, especially with maple syrup. We're going to shake this until it's all combined. I wonder why we didn't have any, I'm sure we might have some garlic in there, but we don't. All right, now, looks good. Smells good. Now it says too that you can heat this. I really don't want hot dressing on my salad right now, and I have fixed the salad here so that you can see what's going on. I'm going to pour a little of this. Let me find my balsamic. I'm going to pour a little of this on here. Ooh, it looks yummy. Looks absolutely yummy. Wonder if my cameraman could hand us a fork and we can try this. I just have a small salad here with spinach, mushrooms, feta cheese, and some purple onion. Let's just try a piece of this. Oh my. That is so good. A little on the sweet side. Paprika. Got a little smoke to it. This is well worth the trial. Tell you, and I'll bet it's really good warmed on a winter salad. So, there you have it. We've taken you from tapping the trees to using the syrup. And I tell you, if you ever get a chance to go tap trees, go for it. You'll enjoy it. Until next time, blessings to you and your family.